Alright, so here we have a Tier 8 game on Mirovanka. It's an encounter, which means there's one capture point in the middle that both teams have to actually go for. I'm driving the Tier 7 American tank destroyer, the M56 Scorpion. Paper thin armor, very fast acceleration, and I'm actually very tiny. That's a Tier 7 German light tank, rather, and he's actually about twice my size. Do not want to hit that tank. I weigh about 7 tons, and that guy weighs about 50 tons or so. So I mean, that'd be like a freight train hitting a car. Not very good. I'm taking a fairly aggressive, or actually passive-aggressive, spotting tank destroyer position in the southwestern forest. You can see me pointing towards it right now with my cursor. Looking around, I can see the VK2801 that I was talking about at the very beginning of the game there. He is moving forward, going for an aggressive spot on the center of the map, trying to see if he can find anything. He does not actually spot anything, which basically means we don't really know what's going on over there. You can see the rest of our team is heading towards the forest in the eastern side of the map. They find most of the enemy team over there. Quite a few enemy tanks, very scary. But something I just kind of want to demonstrate real quick. If you look at how tiny this tank is, there's not actually that much that's pointing over the top of this cliff. They can actually only see from about there up. So anything above that, so this little rectangle bit, is the only thing that they can see of the entirety of my tank, just because of how tiny I am. So you missed it there. I actually took a shot at the enemy 110, Chinese heavy tank. Don't actually manage to penetrate. Very strong armor on the front of that tank, very well angled. You can see I'm going for a shot on the cupola. The shot actually hits, but it hits the edge of the cupola, and it bounces off harmlessly. Something takes a shot at me. It was not the 110, which means there's something else hiding over there that has shots at me, but did not manage to connect. And there you have it, the T-28 prototype. He was hiding through the bushes. The 110 spotted me when I fired through the bush, and then the T-28 pulled back behind what looks like a building and took a shot at me. But now it's been, a little while. The 110 has actually lost sight of me, and if you notice, I'm standing still. And on this tank, I have telescopic binoculars, as well as a camo net, which the camo net reduces my visibility as long as I'm standing still. So, when I pull up here and then I hold still, he has a very tough time trying to see me. And as well, the binocular telescope actually gives me a sight bonus, so I can see a little bit further. My spotting is a little bit better. But you can see again, there I fire, but I bounce off the hull of the 110. He actually ends up going, or no, actually I believe that was the 3002 that ends up pumping a shot into our friendly tank there. I'm afraid to get hit by the 110, so I pull back a little bit, not sure if he can still see me. Here he's actually exposing his lower glacis there, very thin armor there. But I managed to sneak a shot through there. I can see him kind of aiming at me, but he doesn't really realize how fast this gun fires. So I end up pumping another shell into him. Let's see if I can sneak another one in before he pulls over. No, I actually bounce off his gun into his hull, but I do not do any damage. You can see we have 2 heavies over in the cap there, an IS-3 and I believe an IS-6. The 110's aiming at me again. He fires, goes right over my head. I pull back, waiting till I'm no longer spotted. The 110 is there. I believe he can actually still see me. No, I believe I have now disappeared from his view range. Taking another shot, nope, I bounce right off the nose there. Not quite enough penetration to go through that tank. Like I said, very well angled and very well armored, but again, I sneak another shot into his lower glacis. He's too worried about what's in the cap. I mean, rightfully so, because, we almost have a full cap. That he's not paying enough attention to the tank that's on his flank. And again, I just snap yet another shot into his lower glacis. There's not much he can do. He tried to pull around the corner, but I ended up taking him out. But now I'm noticing there's an AMX-12T, which is a tier 6 French light tank. Another autoloader. All the French light tanks are autoloaders past tier 5. Very dangerous, high damage potential. Very bursty. They're good. They'll reload for about 20 or 30 seconds and then jump into battle. They can do about 600 damage really quick. Terrible shot there. I don't even know what I was doing. He kind of steered off to the side just as I was about to take the shot. Lead it, fire, right center of mass. Does a decent damage roll, 266 damage against the 12T. And then our Hellcat, Tier 6 American Tank Destroyer, non-premium. I'm a premium tank destroyer. He's non-premium. He ends up finishing off the 12T, which is good. Our flank is secure. Now we just have to worry about the immediate threat to our cap. So right now, the cap has to worry about them coming from two directions. One, the Scorpion, which I'm kind of looking in the general direction of right now, and two, the M56 Ripper Patton, who's encroaching on the capture point right now from there, coming across from the forest where that whole side of the team started off at, along with a T-34. T-34 is a very dangerous hold-down American Tier 8 heavy tank. Very high penetration, very high alpha damage, and very dangerous to deal with. But I notice he just fired, so I can poke over the top here and sneak a shot into him. But of course, it bounces off because RNGesus just doesn't love me. So I pull forward, try to whiff another shot. I actually end up sending that right into the hill. And, you know, shots don't do a whole lot of damage when they just hit the ground. I get hit by the Indian Panzer there. I can't quite see him because he's behind a couple bushes, which is very scary. The T-26E4 on our team getting very salty there because he's dead and he didn't have enough skill to keep himself alive. And he's complaining that we're useless idiots and we need to go back to Tier 1. Very nice of him. Very, very nice of him. One thing you need to keep in mind in this game, complaining and ragging on the enemy team or your own team does not make you a better player. And it also doesn't affect your team in any way. Your team's gameplay, or rather their skill, will not improve at all if you yell at them. Something to keep in mind a lot of people seem to forget, which I am also guilty of forgetting sometimes. I'm trying to provide cover for RIS-6 in the capture point from the Scorpion G behind him. However, there's a more immediate threat, and that's the M46 in front of us. He actually gets tracked by the Scorpion. You could just see a little glimpse of a shell there. I pull forward trying to save him, but I just can't quite get there in time. You can see the M46 running. I'm actually the only one alive at this point. I pull forward. The Indian Panzer behind me misses his shell. And now I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. There's a Scorpion G in front of me that I need to worry about. I take a quick fire on the move, zigzag a little bit to try to avoid the Indian Panzer. You know, I'm very worried about this guy. The Scorpion G is behind a building right now. The Indian Panzer is actually also behind a building, but on the other side of me. I'm now being outflanked right now by both of these guys, and I need to either kill one of them or get the hell out of here right now. I actually snap a shot, very lucky to hit him there into the top of his tank, and here it is, it's the end. But, unfortunately, the Scorpion G loops it right over my head. He shot without aiming, completely missed the shot. And, you know, there you go, I came in clutch, 5 kills, 2.1 thousand damage. In a mid-tier game. Tier 8 top tanks, and I was in a Tier 7 tank destroyer. You know, it just goes to show you, if you stick around, kind of keep your cool a little bit, you can pull off some pretty amazing stuff in terms of pulling your team out of pretty much the worst situation imaginable. I'm in a tank destroyer which does not turn very fast, and it doesn't have a turret, so if something goes behind me, I have to turn the entire tank to actually get a shot off. Which is why you saw me kind of pull a little bit of a handbrake turn to try and get that Ripper Patton, which you can see right here, the whole, you know, what's left of his tank is kind of burning there. But you can see, I drove right past him, but because I'm so light, you know, I pulled that handbrake, I swung the tank around, I managed to get a shot off on him. I immediately started moving again, had to get out of the way of the Scorpion G, and I didn't know where the Indian Panzer was on the enemy team. Had to get in the cover, so I just tried to position myself as well as I could. Kept a cool head, and just finished off the match. Actually didn't do that well this game. Most of my kills were all cleanup kills. You know, the Indian Panzer only 100 damage, 127 damage. The Scorpion G at the end there, 108 damage. As well as the Jagdpanzer, only 38 damage on him. So all in all, not actually pulling off that much damage. I ended up finishing 2100 with 5 kills. And as you can see in the other games, you know, I pulled off 5 kills in my Centurion 7-1. and I was around 4.6k damage, and that was because I wasn't just kind of cleaning up afterward. But that's, how the games in these lower tier tank destroyers kind of go. Your job is to just kind of pick up. You have a very, very dangerous gun at ranges. Here I actually ended up, kind of having to use it at pretty close range. But all in all, a very good game. And I'd say a pretty solid success for the M56 American Tier 7 tank destroyer premium.